What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Neil Young's studio catalog. Today I'm going to discuss, review, rank, praise, because I enjoy this album. I'm not going to play music from. You got to seek that out on your own. But his 38th official studio release, 2016's Peace Trail. Title doesn't give one hope at this point, I would say. Like, I'm a hippie. It's in the name of this channel's title, right? Even when I see an album called Peace Trail by a guy who's been like doing acoustic peace protest songs for like, what, at this point, 40 years, way longer than 40 years, 40, I don't know, I'm not going to do math, close to over 40 years, close to 50 years, 50 years, 50. The title's generic, right? And I'm just like, whatever. Then I listen to it, and yeah, the first line of the entire album is "Up in the rainbow teepee sky." But that's everything you need to know about Neil. The peacefulness, the hope, the Native American teepee roots. It just works. There's some cheesy songs on here. It's playful, it's serious, it's protest. But I think it's a really, really good listen. It's folky. It's mainly a three-piece playing most of the songs. Jim Keltner on drums, Paul Bushnell on bass, Neil on an acoustic guitar. There are overdubs. It appeared, this is what I think happened. I don't know how this was recorded, but I think this is what happened, is the three of them played these songs. It sounds like Neil is like, hey, these are the chord changes. Let's run through it a couple times, then let's record it. It is this very off the cuff, loose, jammy type, three musicians just getting together playing some good music. You have some electric guitar sporadically throughout the album, but it seems to be like overdubbed in. Studio, added in the studio. And then you have some electronic harmonica. Or electric harmonica, not electronic. The electric harmonica. Not Neil playing. There's a guest harpist. And every time that harmonica comes in, it is harsh, it is jarring, it is too loud, it takes some getting used to. A part of me wishes it wasn't there because I don't think it's needed, but it adds this very brash, wake you up sort of energy to this. There are albums I have that, hey, I've been busy and I want to come back and maybe sit back on the couch and maybe fall asleep listening to some music, I'll put on. Not this one. Because anytime that harmonica comes in, I'm like, whoa, okay. What just happened there? So the electric harmonica is jarring. Other than that, I think these are 10 pretty solid songs. Couple great ones, couple that are maybe more hit and miss, but aren't bad, and they flow well within the context of this album. Opens up with the title track, Peace Trail, which I think might be the best song on this album. It's a great opener. I think we got some organ or keyboard work on here, also electric guitar work on here. I think this is the fullest of all the songs as far as like what we're bringing sound wise. Really nice drum, bass, acoustic guitar just at the foundation of this song. I think there's some auto-tune going on in here that I kind of like. There's another song later on that has like sort of an auto-tune duet backing vocal type thing that works. But this is the whole purpose of this Peace Trail song. It's like about taking a trip back, kind of as Neil likes to do, get nostalgic, reflect back on the past, question where we've come. And the whole idea is that the world is changing and you kind of have to find the good, because there's going to be things that change about the world that you don't appreciate, that you don't like. But there are some things that you just have to grow up and embrace and like realize this is a new way of doing things. I mean, all of us as we get older, it's like, and I like that he uses the auto-tune in here, because it's like he's almost like just flat out acknowledging like, hey, I gotta roll with the changes. I gotta embrace it. And I think it works. I really kind of like it. It's really slight in this song, but it's really much more dramatic later on an song called My Pledge, which it's clearly auto-tuned. But I don't know, it's neat. There's this almost like ceremonial type marching drum vibe to this song over and over. Like you're on a peace trail. You're like I mean, I guess that's the entire, like, hey, we're moving forward and I got to stay on this peace trail. Like, I can protest against these things and fight against these things. One of the songs in here is about the Dakota pipeline, access pipeline here in the States that they were building through native lands and violating treaties, as we have done for hundreds of years in this country. So there's that interesting sort of progression through that. But yeah, I don't know. I like this song, and I like sort of the embrace of the new technology while acknowledging the past. It's a good dealing with all the things Neil likes to deal with. A solid opening song. The second song is called Can't Stop Working. Very acoustic, more bouncy mid-tempo stuff. This song might just be about Neil as he releases yet another studio album, because this man just can't stop working. I think there's a line, it's bad for the body, but it's good for the soul. So at least he's acknowledging that he might be abusing himself. And then that electric harmonica comes in, and you're just like, oh, that's got to be bad for the body too, because that's jarring. Next song is called Indian Givers, which is acknowledging the fact that for the entire history of the United States, we have been signing treaties with Native Americans and then immediately breaking them or breaking them in the future. And yeah, I think we've broken, hundreds of treaties that the United States government has signed with Native peoples have all been violated. It is why anybody would sign a treaty with this government is beyond me. But let's not get into politics. I think the line in here, the key line that kind of drives a lot of what Neil's talking about, behind big money, justice always fails. And it's happening again here in 2025. But yeah, this is a rough, ragged, bouncy, acoustic-driven protest song, protesting the Dakota Access Pipeline and their invasion of the Standing Rock Sioux's native lands and all that. So, protest song, Indian Givers, as we are. Show Me, a gentler acoustic vibe, a little like a blues riff, almost like a Booker T riff, kind of. This is a pro-women's rights song. The song kind of gets bigger as the song proceeds, just a little bit bigger in energy, bigger in vibe. Starts off a little more gentler, kind of grows in stature musically. Texas Rangers is next. This is like the quirkiest, most playful kind of weird thing on here. That electric harmonica is all over this place. It's a rant, not about the baseball team, but about Texas Rangers, the sort of, I don't know, what, I guess. They're not a police force. I'm not really sure what they are. Yeah, this is living in Texas and learning about the Texas Rangers. You have the sort of Texas version of who the Texas Rangers were, and then you have the people's version of who the Texas Rangers are. This is definitely probably leaning more towards the people's version of what the Texas Rangers were. It's not about Chuck Norris. Next, we get terrorist suicide hang gliders, sort of an anti-xenophobic rant, pointing out xenophobia, but then being anti-xenophobic. Weird little, quirky little number. Then we get probably the most folky song on here, a song called John Oakes, which I really, really like. It's about a guy who seems like this normal dude. He's not really much of an activist, but he attends a protest. He sees people who are just people kind of getting hurt in this protest by the government. So at one point he goes back to his car and he starts his truck and it backfires. And then he ends up getting shot by the police. I think that's what the story is. I'm pretty sure that's what the story is. But it's a nice little folk song, protest song. And I think it just really works. It really fits the theme of the album and the vibe of Neil, and character driven. So yeah, it works. Harmonica comes in at the end to remind you that things get harsh at times. And then we get by far the most fascinating song on here, My Pledge. This really nice, gently picked acoustic number in which Neil's more like talking than he is singing. But there is this auto-tune just kind of lurking in the back that just kind of echoes some of the lyrics and echoes some of the sentiments. It's not necessarily a duet. It's not necessarily a one-to-one correspondence, but it's just there the whole time. And it works. I think it works. It's jarring, but I think that little snippet of auto-tune in the first track kind of sets you up for this later on. And this is a song where lyrically he's referencing Jimi Hendrix. He's referencing Purple Haze. There's a Buddy Holly reference. He references some like 60 folk songs. Another very nostalgic, living in the past Neil song. with AUTOTUNE. And I think it's absolutely fascinating that the two songs that I think are the most just embraced or sort of just wrap themselves around the past and wrap themselves around the way things used to be are using AUTOTUNE. And that has to be on purpose. But it's brilliant. It absolutely works. I like it. Mad props to Neil. I think he used the AUTOTUNE well. Next is one song called Glass Accident. I think this has an electric guitar strummed, but it's not like heavy like distortion or anything, but it's a little more of a different sound than an acoustic guitar, kind of a gentle mid-tempo song. Much more of a typical Neil Young type melody, sort of a metaphor of a broken glass on the floor. Watch out, don't step in it. And at the end, we get some harmonica, but it's not the electric harmonica, it's Neil's harmonica. And it's like, oh, yeah, this is a little gentler and not as harsh. And then another absolutely fascinating song that I don't know if it works. I don't know if it doesn't work. All I know is I'm glad it's last because it's almost like, okay, a little too much, but it's clever. So I don't think it's bad. I just think it's weird. But it's called My New Robot. And it starts off with another like electric guitar strum, but like a lighter sound. Neil's got his harmonica sound in here. Talks about his new robot he bought. My new robot from Amazon.com is one of the lines. And then you get the robot voice. You get this like other voice that's asking you what to do with the robot. We get this whole like almost trance type thing at the end. It just kind of gets weirder. The music gets a little more energetic, but then at the very end, a voice goes powering off and bam, album just ends. We power off, which is weird because most of this album just seems like three guys just playing a drums, bass, and an acoustic guitar. And then we're adding all these other things. And ultimately at the end, technology just shuts us down and powers us off. I can't imagine. It's interesting to watch Neil's journey because he embraced technology because of his son and cerebral palsy and how it helped him communicate with his son. And he found power in that. And he found, agency through synthesizers early on, and they were helpful to his life. So I'm not really sure what he's commenting. Like you can tell Neil's trying to stay open-minded about technology and trying to embrace what is currently happening and not live in the past. But at the same time, there is this weird, I don't know, like, hey, I'm gonna do it. Don't know if I believe in it, but I'm gonna do it. But ultimately, I think it's successful. I really enjoy this album. One of the reasons it works is the opening track, Peace Trail, I think is the strongest song on here. So you start off on a solid footing and it doesn't really get bad. A couple songs in the middle, I think, are the weakest, but then I think it kind of regains itself. You got the fun AUTOTUNE stuff. I really, really enjoyed this album. If I were to rank the songs, that's what the song rankings look like. I do think the strongest song kicks off. But then on the second half of the album, that folk song, John Oakes, is really strong. The My Pledge with the AUTOTUNE, it works. I think the AUTOTUNE, Neil pulls it off just because the gentleness of this song with the sort of the gentleness of the AUTOTUNE, they go together really well. But I think the Texas Rangers one, a little too quirky. I like quirky stuff, but for some reason it doesn't, kind of stands out from the overall flow of the rest of this album. But that would be my least favorite. But I enjoy this album. If I were to rank the albums, it is not in the top 20. It is not in the top 10. So after the Gold Rush, you are still safely in the top 10. And then this drops to number 25. I think that's sort of a cutting line right there. The fork in the road, Peace Trail, that's going to be another dividing line of just little degrees in quality. I think this is just a little more consistent and fun. And I don't know, there's something I really, really enjoy about this. Maybe it is the uniqueness of having Keltner and Bushnell as like your rhythm section, because it does give it a different vibe and there's a looseness to it. So it works. But yeah, I have it at number 25. But all right, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Let me know your thoughts on this album. Those of you taking this journey with me through this catalog, love to hear how you feel about these albums. But yeah, I mean, 25 seems low, but we're talking this is a Neil Young discography, and these are all really strong albums. So yeah, you should be proud at 25. You're still making the team. I don't know what team you're making, but you're making it. All right, that's all I got. thanks for watching. Go listen to this album if you haven't, because I think it's much better than you would expect from a man who's like 5 decades into his career at this point. All right, right at that 5-decade limit. All right, thanks for watching. Peace. Talk to you later.